Parasha 12, Vayechi, he lived. Genesis 47:28 to 50:26. Yaakov lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. Thus Yaakov lived to be 147 years old. The time came when Israel was approaching death, so he called for his son Joseph and said to him, "If you truly love me, please put your hand under my thigh and pledge that, out of consideration for me, you will not bury me in Egypt. Rather, when I sleep with my fathers, you are to carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried." He replied, "I will do as you have said." He said, "Swear it to me." And he swore to him. Then Israel bowed down his head at the head of his bed. A while later, someone told Joseph that his father was ill. He took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Yaakov was told, "Here comes your son Joseph." Israel gathered his strength and sat up in bed. Yaakov said to Joseph, "El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, saying to me, 'I will make you fruitful and numerous. I will make of you a group of peoples, and I will give this land to your descendants to possess forever.' Now your two sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt, before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be as much mine as Reuben and Simeon are. The children born to you after them will be yours, but for purposes of inheritance they are to be counted with your older brothers. Now as for me, when I came from Padam, Rachel died suddenly, as we were traveling through the land of Canaan, where we were still some distance from Ephrat, so I buried her there on the way to Ephrat, also known as Bethlehem." Then Israel noticed Joseph's sons and asked, "Whose are these?" Joseph answered his father, "They are my sons, whom God has given me here." Yaakov replied, "I want you to bring them here to me, so I can bless them." Now Israel's eyes were dim with age, so that he could not see. Joseph brought his sons near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, "I never expected to see you again, but God has allowed me to see your children too." Joseph brought them out from between his legs and prostrated himself on the ground. Then Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and brought them near to him. But Israel put out his right hand and laid it on the head of the younger one, Ephraim, and put his left hand on the head of Manasseh. He intentionally crossed his hands, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph, "The God in whose presence my father, Abraham and Yitzhak lived, the God who has been my own shepherd all my life along to this day, the angel who rescued me from all harm, bless these boys. May they remember who I am and what I stand for, and likewise my fathers, Abraham and Yitzhak, who they were and what they stood for, and may they grow into teeming multitudes on the earth." When Joseph saw that his father was laying his right hand on Ephraim's head, it displeased him, and he lifted his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head and place it instead on Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, "Don't do it that way, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know that, my son, I know it. He too will become a people, and he too will be great. Nevertheless, the younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will grow into many nations." And then he added this blessing on them that day: "Israel will speak of you in their own blessings by saying, 'May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh.'" Thus he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Israel then said to Joseph, "You see that I am dying, but God will be with you and will bring you back to the land of your ancestors. Moreover, I am giving to you a Shechem, shoulder-ridge share, city of Shechem, more than to your brothers. I captured it from the Amorite with my sword and bow." And then Yaakov called for his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together, and I will tell you what will happen to you in the Akvat Hayamin. Assemble yourselves and listen, sons of Yaakov. Pay attention to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my strength, the firstfruits from my manhood. Though superior in vigor and power, you are unstable as water, so your superiority will end, because you have climbed into your father's bed and defiled it. He climbed onto my concubine's couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers, related by weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council. Let my honor not be connected with their people, for in their anger they killed men, and that at their whim they maimed cattle. Cursed be their anger, for it has been fierce, their fury, for it has been cruel. I will divide them in Yaakov, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, your brothers will acknowledge you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down before you. Judah is a lion's cub. My son, you stand over the prey. He crouches down and stretches like a lion, like a lioness, who dares to provoke him. The scepter will not pass from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his legs, until he comes to whom obedience belongs. And it is he whom the people will obey, tying his donkey to the vine, his donkey's colt to the choice grapevine. He washes his clothes in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun will live at the seashore, with ships anchoring along his coast, and his border at Zidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying down in the sheep sheds. On seeing how good is settled life, and how pleasant the country, he will bend his back to the burden, and will submit to forced labor. Dan will judge his people, as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a viper on the road, a horned snake in the path, that bites the horse's heels, so its rider falls off backwards. I wait for your deliverance, Adonai. Gad, which means troop. A troop will troop on him, but he will troop on their heel. Asher's food is rich. He will provide food fit for a king. Naphtali is a doe, set free, that bears beautiful fawns. Yosef is a fruitful plant by a spring, with branches climbing over the wall. The archers attack him fiercely, shooting at him and pressing him hard, but his bow remained taut, and his arms were made nimble, by the hands of the mighty one of Yaakov. From the shepherd, the stone of Israel, by the God of your father, who will help you, by El Shaddai, who will bless you, with blessings from heaven above, blessings from deep lying below, blessings from the breast and the womb. The blessing of your father are more powerful than the blessings of my parents, extending to the farthest of the everlasting hills. They will be on the head of Yosef, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf, in the morning devouring prey, in the evening still dividing the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is how their father spoke to them and blessed them, giving each his own individual blessing. And then he charged them as follows: I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my ancestors in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite. The cave in the field of Machpelah by Marm, in the land of Canaan, which Abram brought together with the field from Ephron the Hittite as a burial place belonging to him. There they buried Abram and his wife Sarah. There they buried Yitzchak and his wife Rivkah. And there I buried Leah. The field and the cave in it, which was purchased from the sons of Het. When Yaakov had finished charging his sons, he drew his legs up into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Yosef fell on his father's face, wept over him, and kissed him. Then Yosef ordered the physicians in his service to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were spent at this, the normal amount of time for embalming, and then the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. When the period of mourning was over, Yosef addressed to the household of Pharaoh, I would like to ask a favor. Tell Pharaoh, my father has had me swear an oath. He said I am going to die. You are to bury me in my grave, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Therefore I beg you, let me go up and bury my father. I will return. Pharaoh responded, Go up and bury your father, as he has made you swear. So Joseph went up to bury his father. With him went all the Pharaoh's servants, the leaders of his household, the leaders of the land of Egypt, along with the entire household of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's household. Only their little ones, their flocks and cattle, did not leave in the land of Goshen. Moreover, they went up with him both chariots and horsemen. It was a very large caravan. And when they arrived at the threshing floor in Atad, beyond the Jordan, they raised a loud and bitter lamentation, mourning for his fathers 7 days. And when the local inhabitants, the Canaanites, saw the mourning on the floor of Atad, they said, How bitterly the Egyptians are mourning. This is why the place was given the name Avel Mitzrayim, mourning of Egypt. There belonged beyond the Jordan. His sons did to him as he had ordered them to do. They carried him to the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah, which Abram had bought, along with the field as a burial place belonging to him from Ephron the Hittite by Marm. Then after burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he, his brothers, and all who had gone up with him to bury his father. Realizing that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers said, "Joseph may hate us now and pay us back in full for all the suffering we caused him." So they sent a message to Joseph and said, "Your father gave this order before he died. Say to Joseph, I beg you now, please forgive your brother's crimes and wickedness in doing you harm. So now we beg of you, forgive the crimes of the servants of God, of your father." Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And his brothers, too, came, prostrated themselves before him, and said, "Here, we are your slaves." But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You meant to do harm, but God meant it for good, so that it would come about as it is today, with many people's lives being saved. So don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones." In this way he comforted them, speaking kindly to them. Joseph continued living in Egypt, he and his father's household. Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph lived to see Ephraim's great-grandchildren, and the children of Manasseh's son Machir were born on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brother, "I am dying, but God will surely remember you, and bring you up out of this land, to the land which he swore to Abram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov." When Joseph took an oath from the sons of Israel, "God will surely remember you, and you are to carry my bones up from here." So Joseph died at the age of 110. They embalmed him and put him in a coffin in Egypt.